Okay, so hi guys. The reason I am not on video today is because my Wi-Fi seems to be not very happy today, so hopefully you can hear me really well. Otherwise, we've got someone to jump in case. Anyway, welcome again everyone, and thank you for joining our second webinar, Collaboration Tools, Keeping in Touch with Teachers and Learners. If you are joining us again, you'll know that I'm Lee Milligan and I lead up the digital learning team in Glasgow with XMA. I'm a modern language teacher by trade and now support schools on how best to enable great learning experiences and innovative technology. So if you didn't listen to our first webinar, which was an intro to remote learning, the recording is now available. And hi to all you newbies. I'm here with my amazing panel of educators who, like me, are Apple Professional Learning Specialists. We are Microsoft Innovative Educators and or Google Certified Educators, and I'll get them to introduce themselves in a moment with this question. Collaboration, because that is the theme of the day. Could you please introduce yourself and let me know what your interpretation of collaboration is? And I'm going to start with Nicola, who's able to join us this week, which is great because she wasn't here last week. So Nicola, could you tell me what you think collaboration is, please, and what do you do?
Hi, I'm Nicola. I'm part of the digital learning team here in Glasgow. I'm a primary school teacher as well. For me, collaboration is about people working together to achieve a goal, whether that's remotely, the way that we are working today, or whether that is face-to-face.
Okay, thank you very much. And next, I'm going to go on to Jen. Could you tell me who you are for our newbies out there and what do you think collaboration is?
Of course. Hi everyone, I'm Jen. I'm part of the digital learning team in Glasgow as well, and I'm also a primary teacher. Collaboration to me is the coming together of ideas that are brought together into a shared space or document, and it doesn't matter whether that's done at the same time or at different times throughout the day. It's all together.
Thanks, Jen. And next, I'm going to go for Steve.
Hi, thanks, Lee. Hello, yes, I'm Steve Bunce. I'm a professional learning specialist at XMA. I work across the UK in many different schools, colleges, universities, and collaboration is working together with people. And often when we talked about this before, we were thinking, well, what's the common language we're using? And we found we often said we're working towards the same aim or same goal. So that's working together for something, and whether it's working together at the same time like we are now, or whether it's working at different times, we're working and understanding, communicating well together. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And lastly, for those who didn't join last week, I'm going to go to Michael. Who are you and what do you think collaboration is?
Hi everyone, my name is Michael. I'm a transformation consultant for XMA. I work with schools, businesses, colleges and universities, and looking how we can transform the learning and teaching piece. Collaboration for me is about creating products or assets together, but also about just even in conversation, you're collaborating with each other to share ideas, create new ideas and bounce stuff off each other. Does everybody hear me okay? Yeah?
Sorry, Michael. Yeah, I think it's more me than you. Sorry, we're having some technical issues. It was great, isn't it?
That's quite all right.
So thanks all. So last webinar, I was on day 6, and you'll have to also excuse me, I'm just showing my slide deck here because when I play, it seems to drop out. So we're working around this. We're working around this today. So yeah, I was on day 6 with my 2 boys, Harry and Thomas, and we were doing okay with remote learning and working from home. We are now on day 12, and thank goodness the weekend that we just had some sunshine. We got our screens, got some vitamin D. And this week, I now have also got my husband at home. And although you would have thought that that might help, he is not a teacher. And I can see that structure and routine do not always come easily to him when he's not at work. Tensions have been heightened at times and a window has also been smashed. So yeah, anyway, as I've handed over more of the teaching to Mr. Milligan, he's relying a lot more on ideas from Harry and Thomas's teachers and really does need their ideas, knowledge and creativity to keep them interested and engaged in their learning. So it's really interesting to see the flip side of that. I touched on the fact that Harry was able to collaborate with his classmates. You can see some of the activities that we've done there on our screen, real life stuff. He's enjoying the fact that he was given problem-based flipped learning tasks, which were very well thought out and encouraged with creativity and collaboration. Needless to say, that collaboration when you're not present with your classmates is very different. And before, it would have been working on hands-on activities such as building a model car and working with your peers in class to figure out, to plan all the different elements that would have been needed and to build something suitable to success criteria. And then whilst also adapting to those designs and changes that you needed to by feeling that kind of piece of equipment and chatting with your peers. And that's very different now. So what does collaboration look like in the context of remote learning? Some believe that kids are connecting and collaborating when they're on Sphere, for example, and games such as TikTok and Fortnite. But again, a lot of these activities just require scrolling or reacting and are sharing rather than actual meaningful collaboration. And we still want to get that meaningful collaboration out of our learners. Minecraft Education Edition, for example, it's not just a game which should only be played as golden time, but it does allow those learners to turn abstract ideas into something more concrete. And for an example, Harry's teacher gave him these Lego challenges, which are great at the moment. Teachers able to engage with the class and put them into groups about how they would build these Lego things. So I think one of the themes was a roller coaster. But then we use Minecraft to actually go in and actually physically make a world, and all of his kind of peers made different objects within that world. Meanwhile, they're video conferencing, they're chatting, they're commenting through Google Classroom in order to still communicate and collaborate with one another. We also know that a child's education can be greatly enhanced by involvement with parents, carers and families, and learning beyond the classroom has always been something that we recognise as being hugely beneficial, and that doesn't mean lots of homework just for the sake of it. It means that teachers welcome the involvement from families and everyone works together and collaborates to support the best outcomes for our young learners who all have very different needs. Again, with these common goals as our main objective and using the technology to enable this, how can we ensure that collaboration with families and learners continues during this period of social distancing? And I hope today we can show you some of the tools. We're going to do some, hopefully, do some live demos. And yeah, I'm going to go to Michael first, and he's going to show you how Teams can be used to collaborate. So if I just go over here, I'm going to change presenter to Michael. And all of a sudden, I have a list of everybody working in real time here. There we go, Michael Conlon. Okay, Michael.
Hello, everybody. It's me again. There we go. How you doing? Nice to see you all again. Okay, so we're having a look at Microsoft Teams, and I'll start my timer so that I don't go over like I did last time. Okay, so Microsoft Teams is a one-stop shop hub, portal to bring all your resources together to work with young people and for learning and teaching, including with staff. But what I wanted to focus on, because this is such a big product and it does so much, I just wanted to focus on something very, very core to it, and that is posts and files. I'm just going to focus on those two. So posts is really all about how you communicate with other people and the types of conversations you can have. So you'll notice in this screen, I'm currently in my collaboration webinar. I've got a number of different channels in my webinar. That's areas that I go to collaborate on different projects with different people. But I'm going to stay in the general channel just now, and I'm going to start a conversation, a very simple conversation with the team. Hopefully they're all there. How are you? Very simple, straightforward. I can press enter straight away, and hopefully I'll get a response from people. You'll notice there's a reply button underneath that piece of conversation, and I'm hoping that my colleagues will reply to that statement. How are you? How are you getting on? Okay, so Stuart's feeling fine, Jenny's fine. Thank you very much. Now, wait a minute here. Nicola hasn't replied to my conversation. because you can see how, if I collapse that conversation and then expand it again, you'll notice all of these replies particular question. Nicola, what in actual fact she's done is she started a new conversation. And it's one of the common errors you find when people use Teams, sorry, Nicola, is that they start new conversations thinking they're replying to a conversation. So just be careful of that. You can put a nice, decent stimulus as a simple question there and ask your students to respond. I'm going to start a new conversation again, although this time I'm going to choose the formatting option, which is that first capital A with a little pencil next to it, a little paintbrush. You can see what that is. And so what we've got here is something where you can format your question or your stimulus in much greater detail. So let's look at, this is all going to be about history. And I'm going to ask, please can you identify this person and tell me what you know about them. So you could use this for polls. I'll spell that properly. And then I'm going to attach a picture to this. So I'm going to tap on the attach button. It's for setting up your files. Let's try this. I'm going to upload from my computer and I'm going to add in this file. Now, obviously I wouldn't give it away because it's got the name of the file on it. Should have tried that earlier. And I'm going to post that to the timeline. Okay, so what they can see now is a little bit more detail. My question, we could have put bulleted lists in there and things, but there's a stimulus. I'm now hoping they're going to reply with all the knowledge that they have about that particular individual. Is it Vasco da Gama? Well, who would have thunk it that it's Vasco da Gama? That's correct. Think about how you would use that conversation space to engage with your learners. One thing we find is when teachers start giving out stimuluses and questions, you might have taken a picture of a textbook question and thrown it up there within the conversation and asked children to respond. What we find is that, and what students report to us, is that by seeing how other people have attacked the problem, they begin to learn more about different approaches, which is incredibly helpful. So when you see everybody responding and everybody has a voice in this conversation, because you're all connected within the team, it really becomes a rich way of showing how people think and coming across different answers and possible mistakes and why they might have thought that way. This is a very familiar scenario to students. There's other things that they can reply with. If I click on the reply button, you'll see the same tools that I have in Start a New Conversation appear. And so I'm going to tap on GIF and I'm going to just type in the word history and see what I get. Wow, what's that? What year is it? Yeah. And then I have to post that. I click on that little airplane down in the bottom right-hand corner. I think I've posted it, but I haven't really. I have to tap on that send button before it will appear in that reply space. And I know that my colleagues really enjoy sticking in GIFs. And what have we got? So we've got emojis, we've got stickers, we've got a whole host of things that you can add in to make it more of a social media type experience. And for each response, you can obviously, if you hover over the button, you can respond to that using a little emoji. And for those of you who are interested in accessibility, which is a session we're going to do after the Easter holidays, you can have the device read out the answers and read out the questions to you if you're suffering from if you've got a learning challenge there. So really straightforward introduction to posts and the ability to connect, do conversations. I now want to move to files. And this is where you see that Vasco da Gama portrait was automatically embedded into my files area. The files area is very similar to your personal drive or your OneDrive or your pen drives, whatever it is you use. So I'm going to look for a little homework piece. I'm going to create a little folder. You can create as many folders as you like. In there, you'll notice you can create documents from those particular Microsoft products right from inside Teams. Inside this homework folder, I'm going to upload a file. I'm going to upload a file called Cluedo Movie. I'm going to open that up. And you'll see that uploads into the file space really, really quickly. I'm going to go back to posts just now because I want to start a conversation with my students. I'm going to say, try this. Gives them some instructions. Open this file and complete the stimulus there. Bit odd language, I know, but there you go. Now, to upload the file, I'm not uploading it from a computer. I'm going to my team to find the file from within my team. You'll notice that I've got my homework folder, so I'm going to open that up. And there's the Cluedo movie document. I'm going to share a link to that document. Now, this is where collaboration really becomes really clear to everybody about what collaboration looks like. I'm going to send that. My students are going to open up that document, and I'm going to open it up too. And the power of having documents in the cloud is that you've got one source of truth. Everybody can contribute to that document at the same time. So if Jenny, you could be number 1, Steve, you could be number 2, Lee, you could be 3, Stuart, you could be 4. Who else am I missing? Pick a number, and then I'll be number 6. Okay. You can see we're all writing in this document at the same time. You can see who, if we go right to the top where my mouse is, you can see who's in the document. I can see where they're typing. Here is my character. So this is about, you know, we've been reading this book, The Ranch in Broward County. Let's think about some of the characters who could possibly have been involved in the murder of the ranch owner. What's their motive? Can you describe what they're looking like? This hair cannot be tamed. So let me close that. That's a very quick illustration of how you can collaborate on a document at the same time. Just to finish off then, what I want to look at is this Meet Now function. We can schedule meetings in a calendar for Teams. I like to just sometimes just jump on and get the people in the group to join me in a video conversation. So I'm going to tap on that little video camera there, and I'm going to give it a meeting title if I want. I'm going to tap on Meet Now. Now, whilst my video camera appears, here I am again. Hope you can see that. If I go back to my team and my posts area, you'll see that all they have to click in the posts area is they just need to click on join. And I'm hoping that they're going to join me there. There's Steve. Hi, Steve. There he is. There's Jen, Nicola. We're all here. Hello again. And then I'll finish that call. So look how simple that was. I tapped on that video camera. The call had a join button. Everybody that's in the post area can just click on join, and then that's us chatting and collaborating straight away. And we can be talking about the document we've just been working on. We could have that document on screen and shared. Whew. Loads and loads and loads of stuff you can do with Teams. That's the very basics of Teams. If there's so many resources out there, we'll maybe post them in the chat or as a follow-up. I know that I had did I have a keynote somewhere? No, I didn't. I was going to show you a QR code, but we can use Teams for a whole load of things, including assignments to distribute to your student. But hopefully that's been a useful introduction to you to get you started. Thank you. Okay. Oh, timer's gone. Gina, I don't have the controller anymore for some reason. Don't know why that is. You want to switch over to Nicola? Oh, there we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Michael. Okay, so a similar tool, but again, just a different platform for you to think about is Google Classroom. If you've never used Google Classroom before, there'll be some tips in here that will help you understand how you could begin to use Google Classroom, or it may be that you're already using it and it's just to consolidate that knowledge that you have. Google Classroom is a free app which is designed to help educators and learners communicate, collaborate and manage a workflow effectively online. It's available to both personal Google accounts and G Suite for Education accounts. However, you should only use Google Classroom with your school account if you're involving the learners. Individual schools or local authorities will have to purchase their own domain, however. The Google Classroom app is also available on iOS and Android platforms if you want to download that onto a tablet. But today you're going to see the online environment with mine. If you can, use Google Chrome, as that will give you the best experience. Got a web here, and this is how I kind of visualize what Google Classroom is, and right in the heart of that web is communication, because we're talking about how to collaborate and communicate with our learners just now whilst we're in this period of isolation. Google Classroom aids that workflow where you can give assignments to your pupils, they can hand them in. There's also a grading function. And it really helps with your assessment and feedback, and you've got that overview and a nice snapshot of what's happening in your online paperless classroom. If you've never used Google before, looking at Google Classroom, you need to go to classroom.google.com. The Google environment is all based around your Google Drive, and it's an online environment. However, you can use the tools offline and it will sync up later on when you're connected to Wi-Fi. When you go to that, you will see Go to Classroom, this blue bar here, and that will let you then go and sign into your class. And what I'm going to do now is take you out of this and into my web browser where we will see our Google Classroom. Okay, so I've done the sign up process. You do need a Gmail, a Google account to get on there. And then when we're in with that account, you'll notice up at the top, I've got my little account there. I'm using a Glow account at the moment. And I've got 2 classes sitting there, one class that I have created and one class that I have been invited to. If you are setting up a class for the first time, you need to go to this plus icon up at the right-hand side, and you can create a class. I'm not going to go through all of these steps. I already have my class waiting, but really simple. Give your name a class, give it a section, subject and room if you want to be that specific. But to be honest, I think the class name and subject are more than enough. And then you would hit create, and that would be you ready with your class. You can go in and personalize it with colors and themes if you wish, and you'll see that there are 2 different classes. You can also tap on that plus icon and join a class, and I will show you, if I go into my class now, up here under XMA languages, this is our language class today, there's a code, and if I click on that display icon there, it's like a little square, the code is displayed on my screen. Now feel free, if you are using a Glow account just now, you can join my classroom using that code. You can take note of it, but again, you can watch the replay of this video and work your way through it if you are new to Google Classroom. So now we're in the class, I've got my stream, okay? I'm going to talk you through what all of these parts mean and how they can help you with your classroom experience. So the stream is your communication hub, if you like, where you can create and schedule announcements for your class. And it customizes itself as you add into your classroom. So you'll see at the moment, I've got some upcoming events here, assignments that are due. I have posted some materials. There's an assignment there for my class. I've posted some questions. You can see here there's a question that was posted before about what are your preferred ways of learning. And if I go in there, 2 of my learners have actually already replied to that. So I like watching videos, but then doing an activity after. And Elle Cook really likes to read stories. Ones that are set in space are the favourites. So that opens up that conversation. So quite similar to what you just saw there with Michael, you can have the same kind of environment here in Google Classroom as well. What I want to do is invite the pupils who are in my class just now. If you see the post, N Patterson posts a new question. Has anyone done any fun activities while being at home? If you want to go in and respond to that just now, that would be great while we're going through the next couple of sections. Across the top there, I've now got classwork, and that is where I create these assignments for my learners. So you'll see in there I've got a French colours quiz which is due tomorrow, so you can set deadlines, which is great. There's that question that my pupils will be responding to as I'm speaking to you just now, and some other assignments in there. You just need to tap on the create button, and there you have options of what kind of task you want to set. So if you want to show some material for pupils to do a bit of reading or research, then you would go for a material option. There's that question option that my pupils are responding to, and you can say assignments and quizzes. And if I just tap on assignment, you'll see you can give it a title, instructions, you can add any content from either your Google Drive, you can add in a link, it could be a file or a YouTube link as well, which is fantastic. You can also go in and create your own documents. And over at the right hand side here, you can set a due date and also assign points. You can also have it as an unmarked assignment. It just depends really on what you're looking for. Okay, let's see if my pupils have responded to that question then. Oh, I do have a response. Let's see, some of you have joined as well, which is fantastic. Let's just go back and see one class comment. I have been using the Apple Pencil to do some new drawings and portraits, and I've enjoyed sketching things around the house too. Brilliant. So that's someone using their technology to do a bit of artwork there. Thank you very much. Okay, now the People tab is where I can oversee and manage my students. So I've got some new learners in there. Hello, welcome. I can also add in other teachers, which is fantastic. I really like this part because you might be working with a stage partner, you might want to do a joint topic, and there again, collaboration coming in where you're opening that up to other people in your organisation. Going across the top there, we've got marks as well, and I can see who has handed in some of their projects, and I can see what hasn't been handed in yet. You can also give a grade in here if you've set a grade. So I actually typed in 100 out of 100 in these boxes, so you can physically give those grades once you've had a look at what's happening. If I go back to my stream, if I could just ask my pupils, Jennifer or Stuart, could you pop into the French colours quiz for me, please? I'm just going to show you that quiz just now. Let's have a look. Yep, there it is. I can see that. And I'll show you where it lives on my computer. So up at the right hand side where we saw my login details, I've got the Google App Switcher, and there lives my Google Drive. Now that is where everything you create in here in your Google environment, that's where it will live. So if I go into my drive, you can see that all of my documents are there. There's my French colour quiz. There's a collaboration document. There is a presentation that I've asked the children to look at to practice their colours, and some animals. So you're able to organise everything in the drive. And up at the plus here, new, you can create your folders and you can create Google Docs, sheets and slides, whatever it is you want to have there for your learners. And again, you can invite your learners by email address to collaborate on these documents as well. Again, we could show you so much just now, but this is definitely something for future. Let's just pop back in and we'll see if my learners have completed any of their assignments for their French colour quiz. There we go, handed in, brilliant, okay. And if I go back to my class, I've got marks here, so I should be able to have a wee look, view submission, okay. And that will let me see how they got on. Oh, we've not got it handed in yet. Should be there. No file submitted. They should be there. They'll come through in time. But that is a very quick snapshot of Google Classroom. Again, there's lots of information on the Google website if you want to go there and find out more about it. Just type in classroom.google.com. Thank you very much for listening. I'm now going to hand over to Lee, and she'll talk to you a bit more about our next subject.
Hello, hope everyone can hear me again. You can see my screen.
Yes.
So, my work not great. Anyway, Schoolwork is Apple's answer to being able to easily distribute and collect assignments and keep educational apps and how to collaborate. However, for those schools who may be using Macs or iPads and don't have Schoolwork yet, Jen's going to show us how you can do it without needing Schoolwork as such. You can still collaborate with these tools. So I'm just going to hand over to Jen in very slick style. I now could actually hand over to everybody on the panel, so I'm having to look through everybody. Jennifer Dryden, there you go. You're in control, hopefully.
Thanks, Lee. Just get set up here. Perfect. So welcome everybody. As Lee said, I'm going to take you through collaboration with Apple products. I'm going to focus this session on using Keynote, but the process is the same for all of the native apps. So whether you're using Pages, Numbers, Keynote, etc., the process is exactly the same. So first I'm going to show you how to collaborate, and then I'll take you through a couple of examples using the collaboration tools. So to collaborate on Apple devices, everyone who is collaborating needs an Apple ID. If you're unsure where that is, because every time you set up an Apple device, it has to be set up with an Apple ID. So if we're unsure where that is, you need to head into your settings, which is the grey cog. And on the left-hand side, if you scroll right up to the top, you'll see your name. And then when you tap on that, you can see my kind of second arrow is pointing to an email address. That is my Apple ID. So that's where you and anyone you're wanting to collaborate with will find their Apple ID. And that's the email they'll use for the collaboration. So the process of collaboration, you can see on my screen just now that I have a picture of where it is on the Mac and then where it is on the iPad. You can see for the Mac, it's up at the top right as it is on the iPad. However, it actually has the word collaborate underneath. On the iPad, it's just a little person in the circle. So I would head up there, and what I'm going to do is just do it with you as we are on my presentation just now. So if I head up to the collaborate sign up at the top and tap there, it'll ask how I want to share this with you. So in this environment, I want to use email. So I'm just going to leave it as it is and tap share. And when I do that, it will then ask me to enter in the emails of the people I want to collaborate with. So that is where you would put the Apple IDs. Once you have added those in, you would tap send. And then the people you are collaborating with would get a notification to say that I've shared a document. They would, in their iCloud, they would tap on that and download the document. Once they've done that, I can then see that they're collaborating with me. And every time any of us add any information in, we all get to share that together. So I'm just going to take you through a couple of examples. One is of a kind of one-to-one example, so collaborating with only one pupil, and the other is collaborating with a small group of pupils. The possibilities with collaboration are endless though, so please use these as examples that you can adapt. And also you want to think about the age and stage of your pupils you're collaborating with, and also their experience in using digital technology in this way. So the first example is a remote learning journal, and this is on a one-to-one basis. And I thought this would just be a really nice idea because pupils working from home at the moment are going to be doing so many amazing things, including all the things that you are sending home. They're going to be doing lots of lovely things with parents, and I think it'd be great to have somewhere to put all of those amazing activities so that when we go back into class, we have a log of everything that's been going on. So I'm just going to come out of my presentation just now and take you into that example. Perfect. So I'm in my example now, and if I go up to where my collaborate sign is, it's now not grey anymore. It is now a greeny blue colour. And if I tap on that, I can see that Nicola has accepted the link that I sent to her. So she's now collaborating with me. So I know that she can see it. So what I've got here is just a title slide followed by a few slides that I want Nicola to fill out. Now, don't be thinking for a minute that this is going to be lots of extra work. These are 3 generic slides that I could just copy and then paste into my other pupils' logs as well. So even if you're sitting with a rather large class, you could simply make 3 slides and copy them into everybody's. It's then down to the pupil how they interact with it and how they change it. They could change fonts, colours, everything on the page. You're just giving them the slides to do that. And as I'm talking, we can see that Nicola is completing part of her favourite activity of the week. You could also just use these slides week after week, or you could adapt them as you see fit. The nice thing that I like is that Nicola can add in pictures, videos, and I can also help Nicola by giving her pointers in text, or, as I've done on my last slide here, a little audio file so that she can listen to me rather than reading text. And that would obviously help you with learners who require an audio file or a video. You could pop a video in there. And I'm using the image gallery as a placeholder, but obviously, you know, you could leave it as free as you wanted. I just wanted to be quite prescriptive for our first time doing this. But a lovely way for me to share learning with, or sorry, for my pupil to share what they're doing at home with me, because I can't be with them at the moment. My next example, thank you for that, Nicola. My next example is of a group collaborated document. So if I head up here again to my collaborate tool icon, just so you can see how it looks. So again, I've got Nicola, but I've also got Stuart this time. So I've got more than one person collaborating with me. Now, if I had other pupils that I had collaborated with and they hadn't accepted my invite, I would see them underneath Nicola's name with the word invited in brackets. And that just means that they haven't accessed the material that I've sent yet. So that lets me know I need to do something else to help them. I can also add people at any point. Now, with something like this, this could easily be used in a whole class format. You might just want to be a bit more prescriptive about what, where the children do their work and what slides they're working on if it's a whole class, because obviously it's a much bigger group. However, in our class, we do collaborative work a lot of the time. So this should be quite a familiar format for my class. So I'm going to leave it quite open in this task. So you can see here, and that's what I like about this type of thing, where I can put in the success criteria, help that they need, little pointers of what I'm looking for, and then I can let the children kind of go on with it, and I can dip in and out throughout the week to see how they're getting on. I've got, and if you can look at the side here where my thumbnails are, you can see they're already working on it, which is great. My last slide is a little help slide. So I've managed to put in just some links to some websites that we've used already, and a link to a YouTube video that we've used quite a lot in class, and I've gave them a little audio of where to find help if they need it. We're, as a class, also using Seesaw, so it's good that they can contact me on there. I've popped in a little ideas slide so that if they wanted to, they could chat about some ideas together, so that it's all in one place. But what's lovely is that I can see that Stuart's already started with his evaporation slide, and that Nicola has got her precipitation slide going. Now, the other nice part about this is that Stuart and Nicola can also see what each other are doing. So if one of them has a great idea or is using something different, they can learn off of each other, which is great. And if I maybe saw something that I thought, maybe that's not quite right or not quite hitting the success criteria, I could leave a little audio clip on their slide or a little comment, and then they can take that feedback on board. I love that we don't have to all be ready together at the same time in order to collaborate. I think it's great that we can dip in and out and still see everything each other are doing. So that is just a few ways in which you can collaborate with students using the Apple apps. As I said, the process is exactly the same no matter which app you're using. And I think this is a really nice way to stay in touch with your pupils, not constantly, but consistently, and be able to be with them without being together in the classroom. I hope that was useful. And what I'm going to do now is pass you over to Steve. So Steve, just give me 2 little seconds to change presenter.
Lovely, thanks, Jen. That's a lovely example, and what I really loved is the way that you had the people collaborating on it. You could see them building up their pictures as you were talking, and it really just brings us all together. Okay, so I'm showing my screen now on there, and I shall just explain a little bit about what I'm going to describe. Already this afternoon, we've seen how you can use Microsoft Teams as a way of collaborating, and we've seen Google Classroom as a way of working together. We've mentioned Apple Schoolwork, and then that last lovely example of collaborating using simple ideas of a learning journal and also collaborating on a presentation. And there we've seen from Microsoft, there from Google and from Apple. And what we're going to say now is, well, another tool which you might be using, Jen mentioned Seesaw, that's a tool you might be using, or what I'm going to describe now is called Showbie. So what I'm doing is I've been using Showbie in the classroom for a while. I've been using it initially as a way of handing work in and taking work out. What I'm going to say is, let's just see that. I'm just going to turn on my camera for a second. And if you're at home and trying this out, what you can do is use 2 devices is sometimes a good way of working. Or if you've got your children at home, you can try it out with your children and see what happens there. But for example, this afternoon, I've got a laptop here, which has got Showbie running on it through the web browser. And I've also got, for example, here on an iPad, I'm logged in here as a student or as one of the pupils. So again, I think that helps you see the 2 sides of it, working from the teacher's point of view and also what the children might see. So just back to my screen here, we've got different classes, and I'm just going to open up one I've made especially for this afternoon called XMA webinar. And within that webinar, you can see that special class. This could be your class or a class you're working with across the school or remotely working with. And the way I used to use it initially was just purely if the children wanted to hand something in and I wanted to look at it, and then I could maybe reply something back to them. So if you imagine currently, if you were working in a physical classroom, you might take some like an activity or a sheet or something from a book. You might give it to the children to look at and read, and then they might do some work in their exercise books, and you might collect in their exercise books, and then you might add a comment to explain what's going on. Well, Showbie can do something simply like that. So let's have a look at our example. And we're going to follow on from Jen's example there of the water cycle. So we'll open up that assignment. And what I've done is I've created an assignment called the water cycle. And you can see in my class, I've stars of the Toy Story films there. We've got Woody, Jessie, Slinky, and Mr. Potato Head there. They're my pupils today. Like we've seen with Teams, like we've seen with Google Classroom and schoolwork, what we can do is you can put something into a shared folder for them all to see. So for my class, for example, if this was us opening up a book and wanting them all to read a passage from a book, it could be that. Or what I've done is I've taken the presentation which Jen's just made, or I've used that as a template, and that's what I've put into that shared folder for them all to see. And I've put a little question there for them to say, look here, look at the presentation. Can you add 3 facts about the water cycle in that presentation, then hand it in? Okay, so that's what I've shared with them. So let's go and see what Woody's done. So I'll go and have a look at Woody. So select one of the pupils in your class, and you can see there's a conversation going on there with Woody. For example, I handed out that presentation to Woody. Woody's then commented on that presentation. So let's open it up and have a look. So here's our presentation. Woody says ticked off maybe the success criteria. And very simply, on each slide there, he's added a comment. So just very quickly, he's put in a text box saying rain is called precipitation. And in this one, the water runs off the land into the sea. So he has done what I've said. He has gone off and he's added some information on each slide. Okay, not very great display or anything there, but he's actually answered the questions that we asked him to go and add some facts about the presentation. So I'll close that down now, and let's go back to see what else Woody said. He's then sent me a comment saying, hi, I've added my presentation. And I've replied, thanks, Woody. So what Woody then did was, rather than just commenting on my presentation, and for example, if I was going to go and look at one of the other pupils as well, you would see their own presentation and their own comments on each one. So it's not that they're commenting on the same one, they each can comment on their own. So the collaboration we're seeing at the minute is collaboration between a teacher and a pupil here working together. So what Woody did then was he actually downloaded the presentation to his device, and I'll open that up, and he's changed it a little this time. So he's taken our template, and you can see again he's ticked off the success criteria, but this time what he's done is he's added some pictures. So he's added a picture here of the water cycle. He's then drawn some pictures about what is condensation and evaporation, and another one there about precipitation. And when he's finished making his new presentation, he's handed that in. He's uploaded it back into our folder so we can have a look at it. So there he is. So there he is. He's now not just commented on my presentation. He's taken the presentation, he's extended it and added to it. And I've replied back to him. I said, look, I like that, Woody, but could you maybe add a voice note to explain about the water cycle? And he's replied, yes, I've added it. So let's go back and look at his presentation. So what I really like about Showbie is if you look at the top here, we have a number of tools. You can, for example, you can write on top of the page or the document. You can highlight things. So it could be, again, a bit of text you're reading together. They can highlight the different important facts they found in the text. Obviously, you can rub those out if it's gone wrong. You can add a text box with some information. You can add a text comment, or you can record a voice comment. So let's go and see what Woody's done. So here on that page, at the water cycle there, he's added a little text comment saying, this is the water cycle. I shall explain what happens, and a little voice note just to explain what's going on. Okay, so we haven't got the voice note there, but if we were to watch it in a moment, watch that back on when we have slightly better Wi-Fi, I'm sure that will be fine. But what we have is a recording there of my son, who kindly volunteered to record an explanation about the water cycle in there. Okay, so what it is you can do a number of different things. When you finish that bit of work, it might be, I really like that work that Woody's done today. I'm going to keep that for later, and you can basically star it like you'd favorite something, and that puts it into his portfolio. So as you're going towards maybe a parents consultation, something like that, you could then say, here's the best bits of work I think they've done. So very simply there, we've created an activity, we've handed out some work, they've commented on it, and they've returned that. They've then actually taken a presentation, modified it, and handed something in. So handing out, collecting in is really nice in there. Let's just go back again, back to our group. One of the things also here is we have class discussion. So that collaboration there was just between a teacher and a pupil. If I go to the class discussion, here's a comment I've made. So I hope you're all well, and I'll be posting some exciting projects. And it could be that you set some expectation there with our remote learning, when you're going to be setting some work, when you might look at that work as well. What you may notice though at the minute is it's just me doing an announcement to the class really. At the top here it says this is paused because only you can share with the class. However, over here on the right, it says about allowing student posts. So I could say, another comment say, if anyone has a question, please ask. Okay, and I could post that to the group, so they'd all see that. And now if I say allow student posts, if one of the children in the class was to comment or respond to that, say they had a question about the work, it might be that they're the brave ones who can ask, whereas there are other shy ones who don't necessarily want to put themselves forward. They can all now see somebody asking questions, and they can all see that in that group there. So again, it's that much more now a collaboration, a class discussion. So in our current strange situation where the pupils are at home, you could be setting some work, and this can be working, say, from a PC, a Mac, or from a tablet device like an iPad, or even from your phone. And you could create an activity for the children to do. You can add work, just like we've seen in those other tools as well today. And then the discussion could be the discussion between the children to try and combat the isolation of them working remotely. So there's lots of great things in there. Just to round up, so that's just handing out work, collecting in work, and commenting. At the top here as well, you can have things like groups. So not just a class, you could have a group where you might have a group maybe for different activities. And within these groups and with all these different things, I hope you can see down the bottom, it has the activity where it can actually let parents join as well as students joining. So with all these different classes, you can, if you want, have the children's class and let the children share their work, not just with each other, but if you want, you can give the parents of that child, that individual child, a code. So let me go back to our friend Woody here. And with Woody, I can, for example, share that with parents as well. Okay, so that's a brief overview of Showbie. What we're planning to do as a group and a team is in the future to share other resources with each other, and also we're planning to maybe do some much smaller group, more bespoke professional learning with each other. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen there, and I'm going to pass back to Lee. Thank you all, but do get in touch with any questions.
Thank you very much. Hopefully. So yeah, thanks everyone. Hopefully we have a few minutes, just a couple. Would have liked to have had more, but we really wanted to show you the tools. Yeah, just see some of the questions here in the chat. I think actually the team have been answering kind of live, but I don't know if any other team have seen questions that they want to address or something that's been coming up lots. Any of you guys?
Yes, there was a question about the number of people that appear on the screen in Microsoft Teams, just for everybody out there. When you're using the video conferencing tool in Teams, you only get to see 4 people on the screen at any one time, but Teams can run up to an audience of up to 250 in a video call, but only ever show you 4 people on screen at the same time. And what will happen is that as you begin to speak, your video feed will appear as one of the 4, and then when you drop off and stop speaking, you'll no doubt be replaced by someone else who's speaking. And that's pretty sensible. Whoever's speaking gets to be seen by the rest of the group. Then when they stop speaking and someone else joins in, then that's what happens. But up to 250, and it's fantastic. And if you've got a class that size, then well done to you.
No. And you can see the little icons at the bottom. You can see everybody who is, on the video conferencing, so that's quite good. And a quick question here: how can children edit slides on the computer where children on the iPad can use markup? How can children edit slides on the computer where children on the iPad can use markup? Not quite sure. So markup is a tool that you would use within Photos to annotate things, or screenshots you would annotate. In order to edit on slides, you would just, you would enter text or anything. Anybody got anything to add to that? I'm a little bit confused by the question, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I think what can happen is you can put in, on a computer, obviously you don't have a pen or a pencil, that kind of input. So you would put a comment or a text box in it, or if it's PowerPoint or Keynote, you can insert an audio file onto the page. So that'd be the way that they'd be able to contribute, but they can't draw unless they've got a really steady hand with a mouse, or they've got some sort of writing implement.
Yeah, cool. And is there a cost for Showbie, or also a free version? I believe that there is a free version for Showbie, and then you can pay for. There's a pro version, and there's even another version, which is Steve. Do you know more about this? Like
yeah, sure.
Version?
Sure. What I demonstrated you today was with the free version. So you can see you can create all those different things. You can share that out with classes, and you can use those tools that you've seen there. There is a paid for version, and at the start of the when we started closing the schools and we started doing the remote learning here, a number of companies offered out the pro versions of their tools to everyone. And Showbie was one of those, and it's already a very, very popular tool in many different schools and colleges across the country, and across the UK. So what happened is when they actually offered it out as free, they were completely overloaded. And so what they've had to do is pull back on that a wee bit there. So now what we're seeing is they are offering a discount on their pro version. But just to reassure you, what you want to try it out, what I've been demonstrating today is all been done with the free version.
Thank you. So there is loads that you can do. Also, a question: can we get GoToWebinar loaded on our, I presume it's onto our managed devices? That's from Glasgow. GoToWebinar, what has to happen with any of these apps, they have to go through kind of safeguarding procedures and all that. So I think Glasgow are talking about maybe another video conferencing app, but for now it would be Teams that you would use for now, because it's for learning and teaching. But I do know that Glasgow are looking into another video conferencing app to use. And then we could use that as well to do different webinars. So I'm sorry, I know there's loads of questions there, and what we will do is we'll look through those questions and get back to you on them. We'll figure out a way to do that. But really, in summary, I think we all kind of have to think about how does collaboration look using these tools. And I think as educators, we're always trying to look for as many opportunities as possible so that our learners can engage in tasks which encourage communication and creativity and critical thinking and collaboration, because we know that when our learners leave school and enter the world of work, they will need these skills to adapt to ever-changing environments. And sometimes, unfortunately, those environments are like the ones that we're in at the moment, which requires working together, often across time zones and within diverse teams, under challenging circumstances. We know that for people to work effectively together, we need to be respectful, compromise, listen to and learn from one another while confidently but respectfully being able to share our own opinions and ideas in order to accomplish a common goal. And this should not change just because we aren't in the classroom. We still need to be mindful of this in a virtual space. And in fact, is this not what we've been trying to teach when we talk about digital resilience and learning? Again, it's about coming together as an establishment and deciding on those tools which you have been using already, and slowly but surely adding to your digital toolbox, and sometimes even taking the lead from learners and families to adapt to their needs as well. I just want to quickly highlight the free which are available for you as educators to access. We've got Apple Teacher, and actually, I hope you can see this if you want to show. I've put some QR codes up there so that you can just use your camera if you've got that function, and it will take you straight to those websites. There's some great CLPL opportunities and learning from Apple Teacher, the Met, and Google for Education, and then I've slotted in Showbie there as well because we were talking about that. If any of our customers are looking to purchase anything, then please know that the XMA School Store is open for business with new capabilities in place. So just follow the link or take a screenshot again and use the QR code, and it'll take you to that school store. And here you go. If you want to know any more about anything that we've talked about, say before, that we would try and get to answer all your questions. And we'll do that in some sort of way, we'll figure that out. But we're also here to help. There's our number, there's our email address, and please join us again soon. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn. We're going to take a break over Easter. We'll still be working, but we're going to take a break from the webinars for education, because I think you all need to rest up and recuperate and stop thinking about this for a little while. And then after Easter, we will be back, and we're going to do a webinar. The plan is on the Wednesday, I think it's the 22nd, to do a webinar on accessibility, and we might even have a mystery guest. So please sign up, share that we're doing this. It's all free. We'd love you to join us. And thanks again to everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, everybody.
I might
Take
even
care.
get my...
Stay safe.
Hopefully you can all see me. Stay safe. Take care.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.